Your 20s are the perfect time to start picking up some healthy habits. Once you get into your 20s, you kind of start settling into life a bit. You may be moving out of your parents' house, going to college, really trying to figure out what to do with your life. So this is a great time to start picking up some healthy habits. So for this video, I want to talk about these 9 healthy habits that you won't regret picking up in your 20s. The first thing is meal planning. Meal planning is something that I picked up within the last couple months, and it has been extremely helpful in figuring out my life as a whole and getting my life together. One bad habit to pick up is not planning out dinner, and then you realize by 6:30, 6 o'clock, whatever time you have dinner, that nothing's picked out of the freezer to unthaw, so you can't really cook, and you decide to just go out to eat again. This is definitely a bad habit of mine that I had for a long time, but meal planning has completely solved that problem as a whole. Meal planning makes everything so much easier because you can plan for leftover nights so that you don't have to cook every single day, which means you are not overbuying at the grocery store and you're saving money there. You don't have a ton of leftovers that you end up throwing out because you overcooked or you didn't get to it on time, so those vegetables that you had in there ended up, going bad. And you don't have decision fatigue by the end of the day, because I don't know about you guys, but I work all day long and I am exhausted by the time that it comes to dinner, and I don't have the mental capacity to be like, what are we gonna do for dinner every day? You just pick the easy options, like let's go out to eat, because then it'll be brought right to my door and I don't even have to think about it. I recommend getting a dry erase calendar board to help you plan out your days. I bought this one from Amazon right here and it is amazing. I love how big all of the squares are so that you can plan out a bunch of things other than just your meals throughout the week. This one was a little bit of a surprise because it came up rolled up, so you have to let it sit out for a little bit and put books on it before you can actually use it. But then once you pin it up on your wall, it works perfectly. I absolutely love this thing. I'll link it down below if you're interested in the one that I bought. Number 2 is to get good at managing your money. Budgeting and saving are important life skills to learn in your 20s. Because if you are just flying by the seat of your pants every month and you are closing your eyes every single time you swipe your debit card because you're afraid that you're going to get declined again, that's going to get real old real fast. So set yourself up for a better future by learning how to budget and learning how to save. Start a savings account, start tracking your money. It's really, really going to help you to know where your money is going every month, know how much you are making, and starting a savings account so that if something pops up that you can't afford, you have that safety net there and you don't have to worry, go into credit card debt, things like that. It's good to build credit card debt, but you don't want to accumulate so much that you are digging yourself into a hole that you can't crawl out of. And if you want to start getting a handle on managing your money, I created a budget tracker that I have available in my Etsy shop. This is the same tracker that I use every single month, and it has been so helpful. Get a handle on my money and figure out where it's going. It has went through many, many iterations before it actually hit my Etsy shop. So if you are interested in getting your money together and budgeting and all of those things, saving, go ahead and check that out down below in the description. And the third habit you want to start in your 20s is reading. Just in general, any reading would be great, but what I think is the best is to start reading personal development books or self-help books and things like that. Personal development books can really help you grow as a person, and mindset books and things in the self-help niche can really, really help you figure out triggers, childhood traumas, limiting beliefs, things that are in your subconscious that you don't even know are there but are driving every single decision that you make in your life. My life has changed so drastically and for the better because I started reading personal development books, self-help books, mindset books, learning about how our thoughts and actions can really influence our life and all those different amazing things. I think reading personal development books is so crucial in your 20s because most people don't know this, but we are driven by our subconscious beliefs that we learned as a child. And if you are struggling to make money, you want to start a business and you're struggling to make money, those could be because you have a lot of limiting money beliefs that's kind of subconsciously pushing all of that money and that success away from you. And reading personal development books, self-help books, and things like that can really uncover a lot of those things that you don't even know are actually there. The first 2 books that I read in the personal development is You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero, and really her whole You Are a Badass series. She's got 3 books that I know of. In the series, that one is super basic level, really helps you dip your toes into the water of self-help. And I also read a book called Embrace Your Almost. I cannot remember who wrote this book, but it was a fantastic book, and I'll link those down below if you want to see, and then I'll include the author as well because I cannot remember who it is. For number 4, we have finding a creative outlet or hobby that you enjoy. And I understand that not everyone is super creative, but I think it's really important to find some hobby that you enjoy, even if it's not a creative one. We spend a lot of time in our 20s just trying to keep our head above water. There is a lot of things that is brand new, and we're finally just starting to learn about ourselves. We're probably working ourselves way way too hard in learning how to manage a house or apartment life on our own, navigating relationships, and trying to get some sleep in the process. But if you make your lives all about work and sleep, you're eventually going to run yourself dry. So it's super important to have some sort of creative outlet where you can just shut your mind off. This can be anything from reading, writing, listening to music, drawing, or playing video games. Whatever you do that you enjoy and is good for your mental health is super important to make time for, because we are made to do more than just work and sleep. And number 5 is to have a daily routine. You may already have some version of this, but you might want to make it more intentional as opposed to just completely automatic. For example, have a set time that you go to bed every day and a set time that you wake up every day in order to make sure that you get enough sleep. And actually thinking through your morning as opposed to just rushing through it to start your day, because your morning is so important to setting the tone for the rest of your day. And if you have kids or you work really early in the morning, or you can't necessarily have like a checklist of things that you do every single day and you don't have a whole lot of time, like it can look different. There's obviously so many different scenarios for what people's lives look like. But in my opinion, you want to try and make your morning a little bit more intentional as opposed to just plowing through it to get through your day, like scarfing down a granola bar on your way to work and not even really thinking about anything, just how can I start my day as quick as possible. And not everyone, like I said, can have a slow morning, but just being as intentional as you can with whatever circumstances you're given. But if you can, sit and have some quiet time in the morning. I'm sure you probably have heard this a lot, but like stay off your phone if you can. If you can't stay off your phone because you use it to wake up or whatever, at the very least, stay off of social media, stay out of your email, your inbox, whatever that is going to have you in response mode all the time. Because I do try to stay off of social media in the morning. I don't check my email really early. I try not to do too much texting. If I have a text that I have to respond to, I'll respond to it, but I try to at least stay off social media, because I find that if I don't follow that rule and I am on social media throughout the morning, that I am more prone to going on social media all day and I have a less productive day. But if you do enjoy going on your phone, maybe just have some games that on your phone that are not as addicting. Like I have a coloring app that I use. I have a puzzle app that I use, things that can like help me wake up in the morning and I can still grab my phone and engage my brain, because I do need that, but then they're not as addicting and you can like put them away and then go about your day once your morning is kind of over. The way you spend the first hour of your day is important, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day, which is why for the first hour that I wake up, or really more than that, but at least the first hour I stay off social media, because then you're in response time and you are going to be more prone to going back to that, whatever you do within that first hour of your day. So try to be a bit more intentional about it. And the same goes for your night routine. If you are on your phone right before bed and you are scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or any of the social media apps that is designed to keep you on that app, you're probably going to get less sleep, or you're going to at least get less quality sleep. So my routine is, because I still like to be on my phone before I go to bed and when I wake up, my routine is to go to one of my calming apps, the coloring app, any like easy game that I have that I can just shut off really quickly, and then relaxing your mind as opposed to being in constant scroll mode, because TikTok, you will be on there all night long and you won't get a good quality sleep. The bottom line is just be aware of your routine and try to make time for yourself, because that is important. Number 6 is working on self-care, but not just any self-care. Finding something that actually works for you. I'm sure you know all the usual ways that people tell you to self-care. Journal, meditate, light a candle, take a bath, whatever, drink water, you know the drill. But not all of that stuff is going to work for everybody. For me, you will not catch me in the bath. I will not be running a bubble bath, reading a book with a candle. Like, I'm not interested in taking a bath, but I will take a nice hot shower. And for others, that is their favorite thing to do. And honestly, I envy you if you can take a nice hot bubble bath, because that sounds super relaxing, but for whatever reason, the bath just grosses me out. I'm like, have no interest in it. And so that is the way that it is for some people. Like, if you're not really that interested in reading, I highly suggest you try it, because reading self-help books has been life-changing for me. But if you're not into reading, then don't read. I suggest trying these things out and giving them a good try. Like, if you don't really like reading, try it out, or maybe read audiobooks instead, because there are a lot of the audiobooks that you can read instead of just reading the actual book. And if you don't like journaling, maybe what you like to do instead is record a video on your phone talking to yourself, because I find that to be really helpful too, and like do a video diary or something. I really recommend trying a bunch of different things out and then finding what works for you and what you don't like, and then going from there. And you can have more than one thing as well. Like, you are allowed to switch things up. Your morning routine, like I said, does not need to be a checklist of things that you need to hit. If you want to journal one day, then journal one day. If you don't want to do it the next day, then maybe read the next day, or whatever it is. You don't have to do that same thing every single day. You can switch things up up based off of what you feel like doing. And I've learned not to roll my eyes at things that I thought weren't going to work with me without giving them a good try. I never thought I would be a person that meditates. I thought, I have ADHD. I'm not going to sit there for 30 minutes in my yoga clothes, just sitting in an uncomfortable position on the ground with my legs crossed. Like, that sounds awful. There's no way I'm going to be able to do that. I'm going to be bored. But I tried it anyway. And lo and behold, it is fantastic. I love it. And I learned that you don't have to meditate in a way that everyone else does or the way that you think it does. I've learned to meditate wherever I am. Like, if I'm in bed and I decide, this would be a nice spot to meditate in, I've laid in bed and meditated. I've sat on my couch and meditated, because all you need to do to meditate is close your eyes and focus on your breath. You don't need to be in a super uncomfortable position. You don't need to have anything crazy. So I recommend, like I said, trying everything out and then testing things that work for you instead of just rolling your eyes on it and be like, that'll never work for me. Because I did that, and then I learned that meditation is actually really helpful. So don't roll your eyes at things until you try them. Next is a workout routine. And this is something that you may have heard of a lot, and you're like, I hate working out. This is awful. I'm never going to do that. I don't have time, whatever. But this is also another thing where you need to try a bunch of different things and see what works best for you, because my workout routine is not going to be your workout routine. And there's so many different things that you could do to just move your body, not even really think about it as exercise or a workout routine, just something that you can do to move your body. And if going to the gym and lifting weights is your thing, then that's what you can do. If going outside on a walk or a run or riding your bike is your version of moving in a workout routine, then that works for you. You can do so many different things. Yoga is another thing. Pilates is another thing. Maybe pick up a sport, do karate. That's something that I did that was really fun. I don't want you to look at it as like exercise or like workout, because I feel like we have a negative connotation with those things. Instead, just find a way that you like to move your body and do that. And it took a while for me to find something. I'm not a huge weightlifter. You will never see me running. I despise running. I hate it. I don't have the lungs for it. I will not be outside running around the block. That's not happening. But I know I do love riding my bike. I know I do love yoga. And I know I do love dancing. So try out a bunch of different things and then see what works for you. And stretching is another thing that goes hand in hand with this. I really recommend that you stretch, because if you keep your body like tight, you're probably going to have maybe back problems in the future, leg problems, hip problems. I know that a lot of older people, 40s, 50s, whatever, are tight because they didn't do their stretching or they didn't do their working out. So now they kind of regret it because their body is just not as limber as it once was. So stretching can really help that. A habit that may be hard to start in your 20s, but is very needed, is setting boundaries. This can be really hard to set boundaries with people that we love. And oftentimes the people that we set boundaries with may not like it. But at the end of the day, the boundary we set is not for them. It is for us, and is for our healing, and is for our mental health and our happiness. Setting boundaries is selfish, and it is okay to be selfish. In fact, if you want to grow and level up in your life and just feel better, and you have somebody in your life that is not that, is the opposite of that, is negative, is draining, is whatever, it is your job and your duty to protect yourself first and set boundaries. And it is a selfish act, and we need to be more selfish. Like, selfish is not a bad thing when it comes to our mental health and our self. We need to be more selfish, and setting boundaries can be that, which is a good thing. Typically, you don't set a boundary because you love that person any less. It's because you've learned that you need to love yourself a little bit more. And I really want to hone in on that, because it's okay to tell people like, hey, I love you, but you need to stay over there. Like, I am always going to feel for you, but I need you not in my life, or I need you less in my life, because we need to love ourselves more. You need to stick up for yourself. You need to put yourself first, because other people are going to put themselves first. So you need to learn to put yourself first, especially if you are a chronic people pleaser. I am a recovering people pleaser, and I tend to put everybody else's emotions, feelings, thoughts, all of that. I put those above myself. And in your 20s, you need to learn that that is not helping anybody. It's not helping you, at least. It's hurting you, because these boundaries and these people that you don't really need in your life, they might be okay most of the time. Maybe you don't need to set a huge boundary where like cut off contact, never going to speak to you again. Maybe you just need to like hang out with them less. And sometimes with boundaries, you don't even need to tell them. You just need to like set your own boundary, and you don't need to have this uncomfortable conversation with them like, hey, I'm clearly setting a boundary. Like, you just need to know about the boundary. Nobody else does. I began setting boundaries with people in my family because I find them to be just negative and soul sucking, and it sucks. and it hurts. But I know for my own health and my own healing that is something that I need to do. So I just go over there less. I tell them less things that's going on in my life. If it's not important for them to know, then they don't find out about it. And you might find that it's really hard to do, but at the end of the day, you're probably going to feel a lot better because I know that I do. Whatever it may be, if you need to see your parents less because they are really toxic as a kid, if you have a friend that's really soul sucking, or maybe you even just have a significant other that you need to set boundaries with, like, hey, I need my alone time in the morning, whatever. Like, boundaries don't mean you're totally cutting the person off. Like, maybe your significant other likes to be really loud in the mornings and likes to watch TV or whatever, and you're like, hey, I need like 10 minutes to myself in the morning to just decompress, unwind, journal, whatever. Can you put on headphones when you're watching TV? Can you go in the other room? Can you watch TV on your phone? Whatever. Like, maybe I can go in the other room and you can just like let me be. Like, boundaries can be something super, super small. It doesn't have to be super drastic, but whatever it is that makes you feel better, you need to start putting yourself first and start loving yourself and setting these boundaries and having these difficult conversations if you need to have a conversation at all, because sometimes you really don't. And something that kind of goes hand in hand with this is journaling, because this can really help your mental health and helping you work through any trauma that you might have or limiting beliefs that you might have or something like that. Journaling has been super, super helpful for me, and it's definitely something I recommend that everybody tries. Journaling can be so freeing because some of your thoughts just get jumbled up in your head, or you have a thought in the back of your head, but you've never actually brought it to the light, so you've never actually been able to work through it. And sometimes thoughts get so jumbled up in your head that you can't think straight. So journaling forces you to slow down, work through those thoughts, and really think about them and go, okay, here's what I think. And then you realize, oh, this is why I think this way. Or you really don't even have to journal that deeply if you don't want to. I recommend that you do explore yourself like that, especially if you are pairing it with self-help books. Super recommend it. But maybe you just want to journal about your day. Like, I had a really crappy day today, so I need to journal about it and like get my thoughts down on the page. Or maybe you had a really great day and you'll be like, guess what I did? I'm so proud of myself. So I need to write about it because I need to tell somebody about it. And tell your journal, tell yourself. This is also great to like write down any goals or write down any manifestations that you have or any hard times that you've been through or mindset shifts that you want to make, because then you can go back in your journal and reread those things and be like, wow, I was going through a really tough time. Look at what I got through. Or holy crap, I said that I wanted to do this thing and I manifested that thing into reality. I had this goal that I wanted to hit, and guess what? A year later I hit it. Whatever it is, journaling can be so freeing and amazing, especially when you look back through and see where you were even just a year ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, whatever. I personally used to use my journal as just an outlet to complain about like negative things that happen in my day. And I definitely think that it's okay to vent like that and really like think through your thoughts. And like, if you just need to complain and no one's there to listen, or you don't trust anybody, your journal page is a great listener and you can just vent about your day. But I found that my journaling became super helpful when I wasn't only focusing on the negative things that happened in my life, and I was reading self-help books and working through a bunch of personal, like deep-rooted beliefs that I had that needed to be worked out, or childhood trauma or whatever. When I started pairing that with healing, I found it to be so much more helpful as opposed to just complaining and crying about my day or whatever. Because after a while, I was associating journaling with negativity, and it's like, oh, something bad happened in my day. I gotta grab my journal and write about it. Now I grab my journal because it's like, ooh, I had this thought and I feel like that is something that I might need to work through. Let me grab my journal and work through it myself. And so you may want to use journaling in tandem with other self-help methods like reading self-help books. And if you want to learn more about how journaling can help your mental health, check out this video right here. Make sure to like if you liked this video and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos just like this. Bye.